Have you ever felt like an alien in your own skin? Like the world operates on a frequency you just can't quite tune into, leaving you constantly out of sync, a perpetual observer rather than a participant. Perhaps you possess a depth of feeling, a piercing intuition, or an unyielding quest for meaning that simply doesn't seem to fit the conventional mold. You see the world differently, feel its nuances more acutely, and question its given truths with an intensity that can sometimes feel isolating. This isn't a flaw. This isn't a failure. In fact, it might just be the most profound indicator of who you truly are. For too long, society has inadvertently conditioned us to believe that our uniqueness, especially when it deviates from the norm, is something to be fixed, toned down, or even hidden away. We're taught to conform, to blend, to flatten the sharp edges of our individuality in pursuit of acceptance. But what if those very differences that make you feel like an outsider are actually the clearest, most undeniable signs of a highly evolved and exceptionally rare psychological landscape within you? What if your deep sensitivity, your insatiable curiosity, your independence of thought aren't burdens, but rather the very hallmarks of a differentiated consciousness, a mind operating on a level few ever attain? This is where the profound insights of Carl Jung, one of history's most revolutionary psychologists, come into play. Jung understood that not all souls are cast from the same mold. He recognized that there are individuals whose inner worlds are so rich, so complex, and so deeply wired for a transcendent purpose that they simply cannot and should not attempt to fit into the conventional structures of society. These aren't just personality quirks. They are fundamental aspects of a rare psychological architecture, signs of an individual actively engaged in what Jung called individuation, the journey towards becoming one's authentic, complete self. The mystery we're about to unravel today is not about finding out if you're normal. It's about empowering you to recognize that your inherent unusualness is not a deficiency, but a powerful evolutionary advantage. We're going to explore 8 distinct, often misunderstood traits that characterize these psychologically rare individuals. These aren't mere preferences. They are deep-seated structural components of a soul that vibrates at a higher frequency. So the critical questions we must ask ourselves are these. What truly defines an extremely rare personality from a Jungian perspective? How do these unique traits manifest in daily life? And why are they so frequently misinterpreted by those around us? And most importantly, how can recognizing these signs within yourself not only bring you profound validation, but also unlock your full potential and clarify your unique role in the ongoing evolution of human consciousness? Because here's the truth. You're not too much for the world. The world perhaps has simply been too little for the magnificent light you carry. It's time to understand, embrace, and unleash that light. From the dawn of human consciousness, there have always been those who walk a different path, whose inner landscape is sculpted by forces unknown to the masses. They are the cartographers of the soul, the intrepid explorers of inner space, whose very existence challenges the conventional. Today we embark on a profound journey into the heart of Carl Jung's psychology, not merely to label but to illuminate, to validate, and to empower. We are about to uncover 8 profound signs that suggest you possess not just a unique personality, but an extremely rare one. A consciousness that operates on a frequency few can tune into. This isn't about being better. It's about being fundamentally different, carrying a torch that lights paths yet unseen for humanity. This journey is for those who have always felt an inexplicable difference, a subtle dissonance with the prevailing norms, a sense of being an ancient soul in a modern world. You are not too much for this world. Rather, the world, in its current state, may simply be too little for the vastness of your interior. These aren't flaws. They are the hallmarks of psychological sophistication, the very signals of an evolving consciousness. Let us now delve into the intricate tapestry of these 8 signs. The first unmistakable sign of a rare personality, deeply rooted in Jungian thought, is an almost insatiable hunger for profound introspection and radical self-analysis. This isn't merely thinking about your day. It's a relentless, often uncomfortable, excavation of your inner world, a persistent questioning of your own motives, emotions, and underlying psychological structures. While most individuals might occasionally reflect on their actions, those with a rare personality engage in this process with an almost obsessive dedication, as if their very essence depends on deciphering the cryptic messages of their own psyche. The why behind this intense drive is directly linked to Jung's concept of individuation. For the rare individual, individuation is not an optional pursuit, but an existential imperative. It is the lifelong process of becoming a whole, integrated person, of developing one's unique personality and realizing one's true self. This journey demands a conscious engagement with the unconscious. It means confronting the shadow, those disowned, repressed, and often uncomfortable aspects of oneself that society and often the individual prefers to ignore. While the average person might flee from the darkness of their own shadow, the rare individual feels a compelling, almost magnetic pull to illuminate it, to understand its origins, and to integrate its lessons. They understand, often intuitively, that true light cannot exist without an acknowledgement of the dark. Consider the common human tendency to project one's own faults onto others. When someone consistently blames external circumstances or other people for their internal discomfort, they are avoiding the arduous task of introspection. The rare individual, however, often possesses an uncanny ability to turn that gaze inward. If they feel anger, their first question isn't, "Who made me angry?" but "What in me is being triggered? What unaddressed wound or expectation is this anger revealing?" This capacity for self-responsibility is profoundly rare. A hypothetical statistic might reveal that only a small percentage of people consistently engage in deep self-inquiry beyond superficial self-help trends. For the rare personality, this isn't a trend, it's their operating system. The how this manifests is often in quiet contemplation, journaling, engaging in therapy not just for crisis, but for ongoing growth or a deep appreciation for solitude. They might find themselves constantly analyzing conversations, not just for their surface meaning, but for the underlying psychological dynamics at play. This can sometimes make them seem detached or overly serious to others, who mistake their thoughtful pauses for judgment. But in reality, they are merely processing the multifaceted layers of reality, both internal and external. This radical self-analysis often leads to a profound sense of self-awareness that allows them to navigate life with a clearer compass. Even if that compass points them towards paths less traveled, they understand that their personal evolution is intricately linked to their ability to continuously refine their understanding of who they truly are. The second sign of an extraordinarily rare personality is an exceptional, almost overwhelming degree of empathy and a profound emotional resonance with the world around them. This transcends mere sympathy or the ability to understand another's feelings on an intellectual level. For the rare individual, empathy is a visceral, almost telepathic experience, a deep immersion into the emotional landscape of others and even into the collective unconscious. They feel the joys and sorrows of the world with an intensity that can be both a blessing and a burden. The why behind this depth of feeling is linked to a highly permeable psychic boundary and an acute sensitivity to the collective unconscious. Jung posited that the collective unconscious is a reservoir of universal experiences, archetypes, and inherited patterns of thought and emotion shared by all humanity. While everyone has access to it, the rare individual's connection appears to be far more pronounced, almost as if their emotional antennae are permanently extended and exceptionally sensitive. They don't just register the distress of a friend, they feel it in their own body, experiencing a fragment of that person's pain or anxiety as if it were their own. This heightened sensitivity means they are often deeply affected by news of global suffering, injustice, or even the subtle emotional shifts in a room full of strangers. Consider the contrast. Many people can intellectualize suffering, offering logical solutions or simply disengaging for self-preservation. While a healthy boundary is crucial, the rare personality often finds it incredibly difficult to erect such barriers without feeling a profound sense of disconnection from their own essence. They instinctively understand that suffering is interconnected, that individual pain often reflects larger societal or archetypal patterns. A story often told in circles of highly sensitive individuals is that of the empath who enters a crowded room and is immediately overwhelmed by a cacophony of unspoken emotions, feeling drained not just by interaction, but by the sheer volume of psychic energy. This isn't weakness, it's a testament to their profound capacity for connection. The how this manifests is multifaceted. They are often sought out as confidants, not just because they listen, but because they understand in a way that feels deeply validating. Their responses are often less about offering advice and more about reflecting the emotional core of a situation. They possess an intuitive understanding of non-verbal cues, sensing unspoken tensions or hidden meanings. However, this profound empathy can also lead to emotional exhaustion, a phenomenon often described as empathic burnout. They might struggle in environments with high conflict or negativity, finding themselves absorbing the emotional pollution of others. This is why self-care, boundary setting, and periods of solitude are not luxuries but absolute necessities for them. Their deep emotional resonance isn't just with other people, it extends to nature, art, music, and the very fabric of existence, allowing them to perceive beauty and tragedy in ways that profoundly enrich their inner world, even as it sometimes overwhelms their external one. The third powerful indicator of an extremely rare personality is a natural, almost innate affinity for symbolism and an intuitive grasp of archetypal understanding. For these individuals, the world is not merely a collection of empirical facts and surface-level interactions. It is a living, breathing tapestry woven with intricate patterns of meaning, where every event, dream, and encounter resonates with deeper, ancient significance. They see beyond the literal, instinctively recognizing the symbolic language that underpins all human experience. The why this capacity is rare stems directly from Jung's assertion that the unconscious communicates primarily through symbols and archetypes. Archetypes are universal, primordial images and patterns of thought that reside in the collective unconscious, forming the foundational structures of human experience, e.g., the hero, the wise old man, the great mother, the shadow. While everyone has archetypal experiences, the rare individual possesses an open channel to this symbolic realm. They don't just encounter archetypes, they recognize them, understand their unfolding, and intuitively grasp their implications. For most people, a dream might be a fleeting, nonsensical sequence of images. For the rare personality, a dream is a direct message from the unconscious, rich with symbolic guidance and insights into their waking life. They might instinctively know that a recurring image in their life, such as a solitary tree or a winding river, carries profound personal and collective meaning. Consider the common societal emphasis on concrete, quantifiable data and logical reasoning. In an age dominated by scientific reductionism, the ability to perceive and interpret symbolic meaning is often dismissed as fanciful or unscientific. Yet, for the rare individual, this symbolic perception is their primary mode of understanding the world. They might find profound lessons in a chance encounter with an animal, interpret synchronicities as meaningful guideposts, or understand that the current political climate is a manifestation of ancient archetypal conflicts. Their lives become a continuous dialogue with the invisible forces that shape reality. They understand that a story is rarely just a story, it's a vehicle for archetypal truths. The how this manifests is often subtle but pervasive. They might have a profound appreciation for myths, fairy tales, and ancient wisdom traditions, seeing them not as mere stories, but as keys to understanding the human condition. They often articulate their experiences through rich metaphors, sometimes to the bewilderment of others who prefer more direct communication. They may be drawn to creative fields, finding solace and expression in art, music, or writing, where symbolism naturally flourishes. When faced with a personal crisis, they might not just seek practical solutions, but also look for the deeper symbolic meaning of the challenge, understanding it as an invitation for transformation, an archetypal journey. This capacity allows them to extract profound wisdom from everyday life, seeing the sacred in the mundane, and recognizing that life itself is the greatest myth we are all living. This perspective lends them a unique depth of understanding and a resilience that comes from knowing their personal narrative is part of a much larger, timeless story. The fourth sign, and perhaps one of the most challenging to cultivate, is the profound courage to embrace paradox and ambiguity, to comfortably reside in the liminal spaces where seemingly contradictory truths coexist. Most individuals seek clarity, certainty, and definitive answers. They want to categorize, define, and simplify the world into neat, digestible compartments. The rare personality, however, not only tolerates but often thrives in the midst of both and thinking, understanding that reality is rarely black and white, but a vibrant, ever-shifting spectrum of shades. Though why this is exceptionally rare relates directly to Jung's concept of the transcendent function. The transcendent function is the process by which we integrate the conscious and unconscious aspects of ourselves, particularly when confronted with a seemingly irresolvable conflict or paradox. It's the ability to hold opposing viewpoints or feelings simultaneously, without collapsing into anxiety or needing to prematurely choose one over the other. For most, the tension created by paradox is deeply uncomfortable, leading to cognitive dissonance and a desperate need to resolve it by discarding one side of the equation. The rare individual, however, recognizes that this tension is not a problem to be solved, but a powerful energy source, a crucible from which new, more complex understandings can emerge. They understand that the tension between opposites is the very spark of creative evolution, both personally and collectively. Consider the societal pressure to choose a side in any argument, to firmly declare an allegiance, or to have a definitive opinion on every issue. Those who resist this urge, who can articulate the merits of opposing viewpoints, or who genuinely acknowledge the validity of different perspectives without needing to land on one absolute truth, are often perceived as indecisive, wishy-washy, or even untrustworthy. A common person might struggle intensely with the idea of loving someone fiercely while also feeling profound frustration with them. For the rare personality, this paradox is understood as a fundamental aspect of human relationships, a complex reality to be navigated rather than a problem to be fixed. They can hold the joy and the sorrow, the light and the shadow within the same experience, understanding that these apparent contradictions are integral to a richer, more nuanced existence. The how this manifests is often in their approach to complex problems, personal dilemmas, or philosophical questions. They are less likely to seek simplistic solutions and more inclined to explore the myriad facets of an issue, understanding that true wisdom often lies in the questions themselves rather than in definitive answers. They might be able to empathize with characters who are both heroic and flawed, or appreciate art that challenges conventional notions of beauty and ugliness. In their personal lives, they might experience profound inner conflicts, the desire for connection versus the need for solitude, the yearning for stability versus the call of adventure, and rather than viewing these as internal battles to be won, they see them as dialogues between different parts of their psyche, each holding valid needs. This capacity for embracing paradox allows them to navigate the inherent complexities of life with a deeper sense of equanimity and an expanded consciousness, recognizing that the truth often resides in the synthesis of opposites. Their inner world is a dynamic interplay of forces, not a rigid set of fixed positions. The fifth sign of a profoundly rare personality is an unwavering, almost fierce drive for authenticity and truth, even when it demands immense personal discomfort, social ostracization, or the dismantling of cherished illusions. This isn't merely honesty, it's a deep-seated rejection of pretense, an allergy to falsehood, and an uncompromising commitment to aligning one's inner world with their outer expression, regardless of the consequences. The why this drive is so potent and rare lies in the rare individual's relationship with the deep persona and the collective unconscious. Jung defined the persona as the social mask we wear, the aspect of ourselves we present to the world to conform to societal expectations and roles. While a healthy persona is necessary for social interaction, the rare individual has an inherent distrust of anything that feels inauthentic, an almost visceral rejection of living a life dictated by external pressures rather than internal truth. They understand, often intuitively, that a life lived out of alignment with their true self leads to an erosion of vitality and meaning. This isn't a moral judgment of others, but an internal imperative for their own psychological well-being. They simply cannot sustain a facade without feeling a profound sense of anguish and inner fragmentation. Consider the enormous societal pressure to fit in, to follow norms, to uphold polite fictions, or to present a polished, often curated image of oneself on social media and in daily life. For the majority, maintaining these veneers is a path of least resistance, a way to gain acceptance and avoid conflict. The rare personality, however, often finds this path excruciatingly painful. They might be the child who asks the inappropriate question, the teenager who refuses to follow trends, or the adult who challenges groupthink, even if it means standing alone. They value integrity above popularity, and inner congruence above external approval. A powerful example might be an artist who refuses to compromise their vision for commercial success, or a whistleblower who exposes corruption despite immense personal risk. These actions, while celebrated in hindsight, are often met with resistance, misunderstanding, or even hostility in the moment. The how this manifests can be seen in their directness of communication, their reluctance to engage in small talk that feels superficial, or their willingness to speak uncomfortable truths when others remain silent. They might express their opinions with a clarity and conviction that can sometimes be perceived as bluntness or arrogance by those unaccustomed to such unvarnished honesty. They might choose unconventional career paths or lifestyles that better align with their deepest values, even if it means financial instability or social judgment. This drive for authenticity extends to their relationships. They seek genuine connection and are unwilling to tolerate superficiality or disingenuousness. This constant striving for congruence between their inner landscape and outer expression is a continuous process, demanding courage, self-awareness, and a profound commitment to their unique path, even when that path is solitary. They understand that living their truth is not a choice, but an obligation to their evolving self, an offering to the world, however challenging it may be for others to receive. The sixth defining characteristic of an extremely rare personality is a powerful, unwavering inner locus of control coupled with a radical degree of self-reliance. For these individuals, the ultimate source of guidance, validation, and direction resides not in external authority, societal expectations, or the opinions of others, but within their own deep inner knowing. They operate from a profound conviction that their destiny is primarily shaped by their internal choices and responses, rather than by external circumstances. The why this trait is so uncommon can be understood through the lens of Jung's emphasis on the self as the regulating center of the psyche. While most individuals to varying degrees rely on collective norms, parental figures, cultural narratives, or peer approval to inform their sense of worth and direction, the rare individual has begun to genuinely tune into the voice of the self. This isn't arrogance, it's a deep trust in their own intuitive wisdom, a recognition that the answers they seek are often found by looking inward. They understand that external validation, while pleasant, is ultimately fleeting and cannot provide the enduring foundation for a meaningful life. This internal compass is exceptionally robust, making them less susceptible to herd mentality, manipulation, or the fluctuating tides of popular opinion. Consider the pervasive influence of social media, advertising, and cultural trends on the average person's sense of identity, aspirations, and self-worth. People often look externally for cues on how to dress, what to believe, how to achieve success, or even how to feel happy. The rare personality, however, is often strikingly immune to these external pressures. They might make unconventional life choices that defy societal expectations, pursuing a passion over a lucrative career, choosing a minimalist lifestyle, or declining opportunities that don't resonate with their core values, even if those choices are met with bewilderment or disapproval from others. A common example might be a person who, despite family pressure to enter a specific profession, courageously chooses a path that aligns with their unique gifts, even if it means forging a new trail entirely. Their decisions are rooted in a deep internal conviction, not in a desire to please or conform. The how this manifests is in their remarkable ability to navigate challenges without constant external affirmation, their capacity to initiate projects and pursue goals based on intrinsic motivation, and their often unshakable sense of self-worth. that is not dependent on external accolades or criticism. They are not afraid of solitude, understanding it as a fertile ground for inner discovery and self-rejuvenation. They take full responsibility for their choices and their emotional responses, rarely casting themselves as victims of circumstance. While they value wise counsel and open dialogue, the ultimate decision-making authority rests firmly within themselves. This radical self-reliance might sometimes make them appear aloof or independent to a fault, but it is, in fact, a testament to their deep connection to their inner power, allowing them to forge a unique path in life, guided by an unwavering sense of authenticity and purpose. They are their own authority, their own judge, and their own most trusted advisor. The seventh powerful indicator of an extremely rare personality is an inherent capacity for transcendent experiences and a profound, often direct spiritual depth that extends far beyond conventional religious dogma or superficial belief systems. For these individuals, the spiritual realm is not an abstract concept or a set of prescribed rituals. It is a living, breathing reality, an experienced dimension that deeply informs their understanding of existence and their place within it. The why this capacity is so rare connects to Jung's understanding of the numinous and the religious function of the psyche. Jung believed that the human psyche inherently seeks meaning and connection to something larger than itself, a religious impulse that isn't necessarily tied to institutional religion, but to a direct experience of the sacred. While many people might intellectually adhere to a faith or follow specific spiritual practices, the rare individual often has spontaneous, profound experiences of interconnectedness, moments of deep awe, revelations, or a pervasive sense of the divine presence that fundamentally alters their perception of reality. These are not learned beliefs, but direct, felt experiences that leave an indelible mark on their soul, shaping their worldview from the inside out. They often intuitively understand that spirituality is not about belief in something, but about direct experience of something. Consider the modern world's often cynical or materialistic approach to existence, where anything beyond the empirically provable is often dismissed as fantasy or superstition. For the rare personality, however, these transcendent moments are as real, if not more real, than their everyday physical experiences. They might find profound spiritual meaning in nature, in acts of creativity, in moments of deep meditation, or even in unexpected synchronicities. A common example could be an individual who, despite no formal religious training, describes an overwhelming feeling of unity with the cosmos during a walk in the forest, or a sudden profound insight into the nature of reality that feels divinely inspired. These experiences often provide a sense of profound purpose and belonging, anchoring them in a cosmic context that transcends personal suffering or worldly concerns. The how this manifests is often in their search for meaning beyond the mundane, their deep appreciation for beauty, their comfort with mystery, and their profound sense of interconnectedness with all life. They might be drawn to practices that facilitate altered states of consciousness, not for escapism, but for deeper insight, be it meditation, mindfulness, dream work, or even certain forms of artistic expression. They might speak of knowing things without logical explanation, or experiencing a sense of guidance from an unseen source. This spiritual depth is not just about personal enlightenment. It often fuels their desire to contribute to the collective good, inspiring them to live a life aligned with higher principles. They understand that their own journey is part of a larger sacred narrative, and their experiences of the transcendent empower them to navigate the challenges of the material world with grace, wisdom, and an unwavering sense of hope. Their inner life is a rich tapestry of the sacred and the profane, constantly seeking to integrate both into a holistic understanding of existence. The eighth and final sign of an extremely rare personality, a capstone that often integrates and elevates all the preceding traits, is a deep, often undeniable sense of purpose that extends beyond personal ambition to encompass a profound desire for contribution to collective evolution. For these individuals, life is not merely about personal happiness, material gain, or individual achievement. It is about serving a larger, often unarticulated, spiritual or psychological destiny that impacts the greater human family. The why this sense of purpose is so potent and rare lies in their profound connection to the Bao collective unconscious and the archetypal urge towards growth and renewal. While many people seek purpose in a job, a family, or a specific cause, the rare individual's sense of purpose feels more like a calling, an inner imperative that originates from a deeper, transpersonal source. They often feel a profound responsibility to contribute their unique gifts, insights, and perspectives to the advancement of human consciousness, to help humanity evolve beyond its current limitations. This isn't born out of ego or a desire for recognition, but from an undeniable internal resonance with the pulse of evolutionary progress. They intuitively grasp that their personal individuation journey is not just for themselves, but for the benefit of the whole. Consider the common emphasis on individual success, personal comfort, and the pursuit of hedonistic pleasures in modern society. While these are valid human desires, the rare personality often finds them insufficient or even hollow, if not aligned with a greater purpose. They might sacrifice personal gain for the sake of a vision, dedicate their lives to causes that seem utopian to others, or find themselves drawn to roles that, while challenging, offer an opportunity to impact the world in a meaningful way. A historical example might be a scientist who dedicates their life to a groundbreaking theory that won't be understood for centuries, or an activist who tirelessly advocates for human rights against overwhelming odds. These individuals are driven by an inner fire that transcends conventional motivators. They are often the ones who intuitively understand that true fulfillment comes from giving back, from being a conduit for something larger than themselves. The how this manifests is in their dedication to their chosen path, their unwavering commitment to their values, and their capacity to inspire others through their vision and example. They might be natural leaders, not because they seek power, but because their authenticity and purpose naturally draw people to them. They often possess a long-term perspective, understanding that profound change takes time and sustained effort. They are not deterred by setbacks, seeing them as learning opportunities rather than failures. Their deepest satisfaction comes not from accumulating possessions or accolades, but from witnessing the positive impact of their work, however subtle. They understand that their unique psychological makeup, their sensitivity, their introspection, their capacity for paradox, and their spiritual depth are not personal quirks but tools given to them for a specific, vital purpose: to contribute their light to the ongoing, miraculous evolution of human consciousness. They are the quiet architects of tomorrow, guiding us towards a future where the inner world is as valued as the outer. As we reflect on these 8 profound signs, understand this: if these descriptions resonate with you, if you see fragments of your own soul reflected in these characteristics, then you are part of a rare lineage. You are not a mistake of nature. You are a sophisticated expression of psychological evolution. The challenges you face, the feeling of being misunderstood, the overwhelming sensitivity, the relentless introspection, are not weaknesses to be overcome, but the very instruments of your power, the unique tools you possess to navigate and contribute to a world that desperately needs your depth, your authenticity, and your vision. Your journey of individuation is a heroic one, not because it's easy, but precisely because it challenges the comfortable illusions of the collective. To truly embrace these rare traits is to step into your full potential, to align with the deepest current of your being, and to recognize that your light, however fiercely it burns, is meant not just for you, but for the illumination of humanity's path forward. You are a pioneer of consciousness, and the world awaits the unique contributions only you can make. Embrace your rarity, for it is your greatest strength. And so we arrive at the heart of our journey, a culmination of insights into what it truly means to possess a personality that is not just unique, but profoundly rare. We've peeled back the layers, guided by the timeless wisdom of Carl Jung, to explore those 8 unmistakable signs that mark you as an individual operating on a different frequency, a consciousness attuned to depths often overlooked by the collective. This isn't about fitting into a neat category. It's about recognizing the intricate tapestry of your inner world, understanding why you perceive and interact with reality in ways that can often feel isolating, yet are, in fact, incredibly potent. Throughout this exploration, we've sought to answer those unspoken questions that often echo in the minds of the psychologically rare. Am I truly alone in feeling this way? Why does the world sometimes feel too small, too loud, too superficial for my spirit? Are these intense sensitivities, these ceaseless questions, these unwavering desires for authenticity, merely flaws that I must overcome? Or are they something more? The resounding answer, illuminated by the very essence of Jungian psychology, is that these are not flaws to be corrected, but rather signposts of a sophisticated, evolved consciousness. They are the intricate workings of a psyche actively engaged in the profound process of individuation, striving to become whole, to integrate its disparate parts into a unified, authentic self. The rarity of these traits isn't merely a statistical anomaly. It stems from the inherent challenge and courage required to walk this path. It demands a willingness to descend into the depths of your own shadow, to confront the unlived parts of yourself, to listen intently to the whispers of your soul, even when they contradict the clamor of societal expectations. It asks you to be a seeker of truth, not just externally, but within the most intimate landscapes of your being. This is why. These personalities are so uncommon because most prefer the comfort of the known, the security of conformity, rather than the arduous yet ultimately liberating journey into self-realization. But you, if these signs resonate, have chosen a different path, perhaps without even realizing it. You have chosen the path of conscious evolution. This journey of individuation, this unfolding of your unique self, is not a luxury for the few, but a critical evolutionary imperative for humanity. Think of it this way. The rare individual acts as a psychological pioneer, an early adopter of consciousness, testing the boundaries of human experience and perception. You are, in essence, pushing the envelope of what it means to be human, processing information, emotions, and existential questions with a depth and intensity that others may one day aspire to. Your heightened sensitivity allows you to perceive nuances others miss. Your deep questioning challenges the status quo, prompting new perspectives. Your unwavering commitment to authenticity inspires a more honest way of living. These are not just personal traits. They are the very mechanisms through which human consciousness expands and evolves. The lesson then is profoundly simple yet utterly transformative. Embrace your rarity. Do not diminish your light to fit into smaller, less accommodating spaces. Do not silence your inner knowing to appease external demands for conformity. Instead, recognize that your unique way of being, your distinctive internal landscape, is a powerful gift, a compass pointing towards a more conscious future. Your intensity is not too much. It is the very fuel for profound understanding and creative expression. Your sensitivity is not a weakness. It is a finely tuned instrument for empathy and insight. Your independence is not aloofness. It is the courage to forge your own path guided by an internal authority. Moving forward, understand that the challenges you face, the feelings of being misunderstood, of not quite belonging, are often a direct consequence of your psychological sophistication. It is not that you are out of sync with the world, but perhaps that you are simply ahead of it. Your internal landscape operates on a different, more complex frequency, and not everyone is equipped to tune into it. But this is precisely where your power lies. By understanding yourself, by nurturing these rare traits, you don't just find personal fulfillment, you become an architect of a more conscious collective, a beacon for those who will follow in your path. You are not just living your life. You are contributing to the very evolution of the human spirit. So as we conclude, I leave you with this final reflection. The path of the psychologically rare is not an easy one, but it is undeniably the most rewarding. It is the path of authentic living, of deep meaning, and of profound contribution. It is the path of becoming everything you were truly meant to be. If you recognize these signs within yourself, if you feel the resonance of these truths, what does embracing your psychological rarity truly mean for the next chapter of your life? Share your thoughts below. Let's continue this vital conversation. If today's journey through the 8 signs of a rare personality resonated with your soul, remember this profound truth. Your unique consciousness is not a flaw, but a powerful, essential gift to humanity. Embrace it without hesitation. If this message validated your path and brought you a sense of recognition, please give this video a like. Your support helps us amplify these crucial perspectives and reach more individuals searching for understanding and empowerment. In the comments below, we invite you to share which of these signs truly spoke to you most profoundly. And if you feel it, declare it proudly. I am psychologically rare and proud. Sharing your experience strengthens our growing community and provides immense validation to others feeling unique. If you know someone who needs to hear this empowering message, please share this video with them. Thank you for being a vital part of this profound conversation and for daring to embark on this journey of self-recognition. Keep embracing your authentic light, for it is desperately needed in a world yearning for depth and new consciousness. Until next time, stay true to your magnificent, rare self